Okay, now that we have looked at kind of estimating angles, now we're going to actually find the exact angles using a protractor. So today we're going to be focusing on how to use a protractor and how to find the exact angle of a angle. So I'm going to write using a protractor to find angles. I'm on page 115. Okay, so before we start, I want us to glue this little cheat sheet into our notebook. So this is pretty much how we use a protractor. This is a protractor, and you'll come home with one to practice. Okay, so essentially what it is it measures your angle. So you're able to line up an angle that you're given, and you're able to figure out the exact length. So here's, for example, this is an angle that they have given us. Okay, so this first thing that you do is step one. You place the center point of the protractor on the vertex of the angle. The vertex is where the two rays meet. So you'll see on the protractor there's a tiny little circle. That is where you line up where the two rays meet. So you'll have a straight line down here, and your angle will be somewhere around here, and you line it up right where the two rays meet. Then step two is line up the 0 on the bottom line of the protractor with the bottom ray of the angle. So this one, for example, is I line it up with my vertex, and then I make sure this is at 0, so I make it nice and straight. Okay. Then it says to find the angle measure, look at the number the second ray passes through. Okay, so let's take a look at how do we know which one to use. So we know that a right angle is 90 degrees, which is right here. So 90 degrees is right here. So this is 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. Okay, so for here, we lined it up with 0. We know that 90 is here. So we're gonna look, it opens up to the left. So we're gonna look at the bottom set of numbers. So we know that this is 90. So if you look at the top numbers, the 80, 90 is here. 90 is regardless, it's always here. But if it goes further, it goes smaller on this side, and then on this side, it goes smaller this way. So we know that it can't be the top number because that's 80 degrees, and that's smaller than 90. And we know that this is an obtuse angle. So we know it can't be this 80, so it's gotta be the 100. So it's just past the 90 degrees right here. So our angle is 100 degrees. Okay, so this will just help you. I wouldn't really worry about this part right here. I would really try to think about, okay, I know that a 90-degree angle is a right angle. So I know that if anything that goes past my right one is going to be more than 100. Anything that's less is going to be less than 90. So that's kind of how you know how to use the protractor, is just by knowing your benchmark angle of 90 and then determining which number best fits that. And you'll be able to tell, you can tell this is an obtuse angle and that it's going to be greater than 90. Okay, so I'm going to write my objective at the top. So today I will draw and measure angles using a protractor, which is this. So you're going to use your protractor to determine angles. Okay, so I'm just going to define what a protractor is. So a protractor is a tool used to measure angle openings. Okay, so here we have our inner scale, which are the numbers that come here, And then on the outside, we call that our outer angles. They're just flip-flop due to, depends on which way your angle. So if your angle's opening this way or if it's opening this way, you need to have both numbers depending on which way your angle goes. You have your center line here, which is where you line up your vertex. And then you have your 0, which allows you to line up your first ray. Okay? So let's think of some quick steps that we can do based on our cheat sheet. So I'm going to write steps is line up center circle with our vertex. Oh, it's hard to pick up. So this is our center circle, and our vertex is where our two rays meet. Okay, and actually kind of before this, you kind of like estimate it, right? So you know, okay, this is gonna be greater than 90, it's gonna be less than 90. So let's put that as kind of like a pre-one. So determine if angle is greater than 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees. And that will just help you determine which line to use, or to use your inner scale or your outer scale. Okay, so then once you do that, you'll determine, okay, is it greater than my 90? Is it an obtuse one or is it an acute angle? Then you'll line up your vertex. Then step 2, you'll line up straight ray, which is like your bottom ray line, with 0. So my 0 is here. If you can see, your 0 is right here. So you need to line up your bottom ray with this 0 right here. And then step 3, mark degrees with a dot. And 3 and 4 is only if you're creating an angle. If you're just determining what it is, then you would pretty much stop at 1 and 2. So you would line up the vertex, and then you would line up straight with the ray, and then you would be able to determine measurement. But if they're asking to draw it, so they might give you a ray and they want you to draw a 125 degree angle, then from there they might give you a ray that's like this. Then you would have to find the 125, put a dot here, and then extend dot and create a new ray. So 3 and 4 is only if you're creating one. If you just needed to determine one, you're just gonna do that. Okay, so let's practice a few. Okay, the first one we're gonna do is a drawing one. So let's write, Kevin designed a new roof. The top of the roof has a 125 degree angle. Use a protractor to draw the 125 degree angle using the one ray given. Okay, so number 1, Kevin designed a new roof. The top of the roof has a 125 degree angle. Use a protractor to draw the 125 degree angle using the one ray given. So let's say that they give us a ray like this. And that's all they give us, and we have to make 125 degrees out of that. We're gonna go through our 4 steps using our protractor. So the first thing we have to do is line up the center circle with the vertex. So here we go. My ray is kind of upside down, so I have to kind of flip it. So here's my circle. I find my vertex, it's here. Then I have to line up straight ray with my 0. So my line is straight. As you can see, it lines up perfectly. It's on my 0 line. Okay, then I need to move on to 3 and 4 because I'm creating an angle. So it says mark degrees with a dot. They want us to go to 125. So I'm going to think about it. So if I chose this 125, my angle would be here. But when you take that off, that's actually less than a 90 degree, right? A 90 degree for this angle would be here. So I know I'm gonna have to use my inner ones. So if I go here, it needs to be bigger than 90. So I'm gonna go this way, gotta go to 125, which is pretty much right here. So I'm gonna put a dot. Then extend the dot and create a new ray. So I'm going to use this as my ruler, and I'm going to make a new ray. And now I have 125 degree angle. So this is 125 degrees, and then let's flip it and we can kind of see how that kind of works out. So if I flipped it, I line it up. Here with my vertex, I have it on the 0, and if I look, it does give me 125. And now you can actually see that this is my 90 degree angle, and it's obviously bigger, so it's obviously an obtuse, which is what it's supposed to be. So I know I did it right. Okay. All right, let's look at one where they just want us to determine it. Okay, number 2. Ted wants to fix a leak on the roof. Measure the angle the ladder forms. With the ground. Okay, so they gave us a picture, so let's draw it. So let's just pretend we have a little house. Okay, here's our house. Here is like our ground. And then our ladder is on the roof like this. So they want us to measure the angle with the ladder. Measure the angle the ladder forms with the ground. So here's my ladder, here's my ground. I have to find this angle. So the first thing I'm going to do is line up with my vertex. My vertex is here. So I'm going to take it, line it up. Is it on my 0? Yes, it's on my 0. So then they want us to measure the angle that it forms with the ladder and the ground and the house. So I'm not going to do this one because they want it to be connected to the house. So it's going to be, here's my 90. This angle is less than 90, so I'm going to use my top numbers. So it's probably somewhere around the 60 mark. So I'm going to kind of use my pencil, and it looks like it's pretty much at 60. So I'm going to do my dot on the right here. And then if I extend it, won't be perfect, but it'll be fine. So here I have my 60 degree angle. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm not gonna have you guys practice any at home because I don't want these to get lost, but tomorrow you're gonna come in and we're gonna practice creating new angles and also determining the actual angle measure.